Welcome to the HITea With Grace podcast, where we spill the tea on HIT. Today, I'm honored to welcome to the pod Amanda Rice, founder and CEO of the Chick Mission. Thanks for joining us, Amanda.
Of course. Thanks, Grace. I appreciate you having me.
So tell us a little bit about your career journey and take us back to the moment that sparked the idea for the Chick Mission.
Oh, wow. Yes. Well, we will throw it back. I graduated from college and moved to New York City to pursue a career in finance. So I started at an investment bank and knew pretty early on that I didn't love making investments or making investment decisions. So I had to kind of find my perfect little cog in the bigger wheel. So I did find it. About 7 years later, made my way to a hedge fund and have been working in investor relations and business development since. For 17 years internally, and then I launched my own consulting firm about 4 years ago. And really, the Chick Mission, the origin came out of a personal struggle, a personal health struggle that started in 2014. And historically had never had any health challenges. Was really fortunate until my mid-30s when I was diagnosed with cancer. So breast cancer, then melanoma, and then a recurrence of breast in about a 4-year period.
Oh man, that is so challenging. So glad you're with us today.
Same. Shout out to all of the amazing oncologists and my care team and innovation and people who have long-term visions to find cures or things to get many of us into remission. It's miraculous.
And so how did that experience kind of spark the idea for the Chick Mission?
Yeah, I mean, at the start, I just felt very alone in my journey. It's a rare occurrence in your 30s. We are dubbed this kind of adolescent and young adult community. So the AYA community is just a little sliver of cancer. And so when you are an up-and-comer who doesn't have this strong foundation of life, like you haven't had a family yet, you are sort of like in that upper trajectory of your career, but you're still like reporting to multiple layers and money, life is expensive and you're trying to like gain, just a nest egg. And that was a really tumultuous time in my life. I did pretty much right away try to find community. And I found that with a nonprofit and started because I fundraise for a living. I'm like, hey, I could make a difference. There was a long period of time during treatment and after treatment where I was not okay. But as soon as I sort of felt that glimmer of hope and future, I started volunteering. And then over the course of these multiple diagnoses and treatment plans, I was confronted with just the injustice. This was a very important thing to focus on as a young adult, which was fertility and protecting your fertility. It is a side effect of treatment for many of us. And so just really kind of wrapping my brain around, holy shit, I have to protect myself for my future that I was fighting so hard for and going through this brutal treatment to get to the finish line. And what was my life going to look like after? So that was kind of where the spark of the Chick Mission started.
So tell us about the Chick Mission. Like, what is your mission and what exactly do you do?
So we call ourselves a triple threat mission. When I was diagnosed for the third time, I had fertility benefits and I went to a reproductive endocrinologist to freeze my eggs. And I was denied coverage because they used the excuse that I was not infertile yet. I did not meet the standard definition of infertility in their eyes.
My mouth is dropped right now. You guys can't see it, but I am very upset about this for you on your behalf.
Yeah. And it was a slap in the face. It was a punch in the gut that I just did not need at that point. Like, this was the third cancer diagnosis. I was struggling and it was just literally a kick in the gut. And I could not believe, I just was dumbfounded. And I kept calling back my insurer to just check in, see if I got the wrong person on the other line. Maybe it was a newbie. Maybe it was just somebody in training. And I just kept getting the same response. And it infuriated me. And that was the spark that I needed. I knew I wanted to give back to our community. I was really fortunate to have had stage 1 diagnoses each time. I was going to live a long, healthy life, but it drove me mad, actually. And that was the 3rd diagnosis. I didn't even cry. I mean, I had all of my people around me. I had all my doctors lined up. Like, it wasn't that initial shock navigating the system. I had done that before. This was, you got to just get in there and make all the right decisions for your future. And that kind of infertility side effect that they would not honor was the final straw that broke the camel's back. And the Chick Mission idea came to me right before I started chemo. And I just said, to hell with it. I'm going to fight to raise money to help people cover the cost of egg freezing. I'm going to educate people, because at the time, less than half of doctors told patients about this side effect. And then the last kind of final leg of the stool was, we can affect change here. There is a historic situation that I was looking at, which was when you were diagnosed with breast cancer 40 years ago, your reconstruction was not covered by insurance, which is disgusting. And you didn't even have an option. You had to pay out of pocket, or just deal with the harsh reality of that. And so we sort of aligned our mission with the journey that those original pioneers took. And it's changing state law, state by state. And ultimately, we will work on a federal bill that will mandate coverage for everybody.
Wow. So I'm really interested to hear a little bit more about the policy and the advocacy work that you're doing. So you're doing education, grant making, but also this kind of advocacy arm, which is really helping to support this effort holistically, because at the end of the day, that needs to be part of the process if we're going to make a real difference. So tell us a little bit about what is the change that needs to happen at the policy level to improve this?
Yeah, I mean, this is a newer field, which is oncofertility. There is something called iatrogenic infertility, which means an illness whose treatment will lead to infertility, and just redefining. I mean, the insurer's definition of infertility, depending upon your age, is you've been trying for 6 months without success. And then you don't even graduate to IVF at that point. They throw IUI in the mix. And when you're diagnosed with cancer and you have to either get a hysterectomy or start chemotherapy or have radiation to your reproductive organs, you can't do IUI. You can't do IVF and get pregnant. You need to preserve your eggs. You are born with every egg you'll ever have. The quality and quantity and the high likelihood of menopause, that's the future for young adults with cancer. So let's be proactive here. Let's spend a little bit of money up front to ensure they have an option to become a biological parent in the future. And so the advocacy work is my favorite part. I jumped on the bandwagon. There are organizations that have been working hard to change laws around fertility coverage, around fertility preservation coverage. There was a young cancer survivor in the state where I was living when I was diagnosed, and that was the first state to change the law. So I was hooked. I couldn't believe you could actually make a difference. And now I know it firsthand.
How critical is it to make a difference to have patient-led advocacy, like to have these people who have experienced it to be leading in this effort?
Yeah, I mean, it's crucial. There are the state political leaders. They want to hear from their constituents. What is important to you? So it's just this moment where you can reach out, look it up online. If you don't know who your state representative or state senator is at this moment, I challenge you all to go Google search it. These people are important. And now with kind of, I won't get into any politics, but the states have a lot of power. And these are people that you elect to govern their constituents. You are one of them. Your opinion matters. And then we have done a ton of grassroots advocacy through the internet, through setting up a letter portal where everyone can sign a letter of support on behalf of a bill we're working on. And it's just such an efficient, effective way to get more eyes on what you're doing.
Absolutely. And how can the healthcare industry better support women with cancer and other conditions that can impact their fertility? Like, what can the industry be doing better to educate them and to support them in knowledge of this? I've never even heard of this. And I mean, I'm sure so many people say that to you.
It's true. I wasn't aware of it. I mean, until you're in that emergency situation where you have to make these costly, timely decisions, like on a moment's notice. And then I think a lot of people, they get through it to the other side and they're so burned out of the process and the situation that they just kind of like float away. And I've always been someone who roots for the underdog. And it just did not sit with me. I could not imagine just being quiet about it. I had to speak up and I had to shake some trees. And I think people who have the same type of mindset, I mean, reach out to us. Let's partner on something. Let's spread the word. It's not all about fundraising. I mean, we will gladly take donations. We need them, but we want to work very efficiently. I take every donor's dollar and try to maximize the impact. It's why with our grants, in a state where the law has changed, there are people who fall through the cracks. We have partnerships with 70 different clinics and we have them appeal so that if something is covered, we can take those dollars and reuse them for another patient. And that's why we're at almost 650 grants today.
Wow. And so
$4 million.
I would love to hear more about that. What are some of the partnerships or initiatives you've been most proud of to date? And you've thrown out some incredible numbers that I'm so thrilled to hear. And then also, are there any new initiatives, partnerships, goals you're excited about for the future? So I want to hear about a little bit more about your past and like what you're excited about, what you've done so far and what you're seeing for the future.
Yeah, I mean, we've done partnerships with women-owned businesses, with whether it's beauty or fashion or fertility. We have had support from amazing family foundations. We've had support from big financial organizations in my network have really rallied behind what we do. I mean, our gala is jam-packed with the best and brightest in the hedge fund private equity world. And that just makes me feel so happy because they know we take our job very seriously and our mission very seriously. And we are trying to put ourselves out of business. So that is just something we love the impact of our grants, but then the sort of snowball effect of the advocacy. Like we're affecting thousands of lives now, even though we've only given 650 grants, which is huge, but thousands of lives are now changed. And ultimately it will be millions. And this will be something like, oh, remember when fertility wasn't covered when you had cancer? And we'll look at it and say, oh, that was disgusting. And now we're almost, I mean, we're not halfway there, but we're getting there. We're right in that period of legislation and session where we have 4 active bills and we are hoping and praying, one in Georgia right now that is sitting on the governor's desk, waiting for his signature. We are chipping away at Florida. We have Medicaid bills in both New York and New Jersey we've been working on. And so that is like the most impactful. And with brands, like we have people, say a fertility clinic in Florida that is going to host an event to introduce the CHIC mission to all of their patients and their future patients. And we in turn will share with them what we're working on legislatively. So let's like raise the money together. Let's get more people as advocates on the ground when we're trying to expand upon our bill there. So there's a method to our madness. I mean, we started a high school educational program in January.
So that's amazing. So you're even getting the students in on this.
We did a ton of educational events on the corporate level, and we love doing educational events. We are so deep in experts in fertility that we can construct the most beautiful panel with a great moderator and either how to get HR to pay attention to adding benefits or how to navigate your current benefits or expand them. We've done tons of those, had lots of success with private companies adding fertility benefits. Love that. The other thing we started to do a few years ago with the backing of an incredible family foundation was expand into collegiate. So collegiate educational programs, whether it's sports teams or clubs or sororities or whatever it is, educate that next gen because they're the ones whose peer set are going to be diagnosed. So let's arm them with the information first. And that's why it sort of like trickled down into high school because guess what? They're going to be the next ones to go to college and carry the torch. And the collegiate are going to be the next ones to go into corporate and say, hey, I'm part of this organization. I'd love to be on the family committee or the benefits committee or the whatever, start our own women's committee and educate future colleagues.
I think it probably helps that public sentiment is on your side. People are like, absolutely, this needs to happen, but they don't know it needs to happen. So ultimately, it's like getting in front of people, letting them know it's a challenge, because once they hear it, they say, no, duh, every employer should cover this. Every payer should cover this. The government should cover this. This should be part of the care plan and education plan for every primary care physician handling someone with a condition. Like, it should be part of that. No, duh. But then it's like, you need to be the one to push it. Otherwise, they don't even know about it.
Right. You have to be the squeaky wheel. You have to talk about it. And we want to give you a platform to do so.
So have you seen any innovations or technologies in the space that have really excited you within fertility or cancer care or wherever spectrum? What technologies are actually of interest to the space?
There's so many. I love fertility in the grand scheme of things is still relatively new. I mean, there have been innovations in how doctors and embryologists like freeze and things like that to have more success. There are so many IVF babies out there, and I love that they know it. I was talking to a legislator in Florida a few weeks ago when I was in Tallahassee, and she proudly was like, I'm an IVF baby. And so I love that people are owning that and running with it. There's so much innovation to come. I do still have my day job in finance. I learn from amazing interactions with the best and brightest VC funds to hedge funds that focus on healthcare. So there's incredible things happening, whether it's IVM is one of the newer things, which just blows my mind. The way that there's a company that one of the pioneers in fertility and cancer used to work at, it's called Tomorrow. They have really cool ways to store your tissue. And that's been fun to watch. And then there's a growing number of experts, reproductive endocrinologists the formulas that they can come up with to get somebody who's had so many challenges, so many unsuccessful attempts at having a baby, and then they tweak something and change up the formula and they go on to have babies. So that's just awesome. So cool.
It must be so hopeful to see that happening, to see more specialists in the space, more innovations happening in the space, and then being able to be an advocate on the forefront, knowing that these people will be covered. Once they do go to freeze their eggs, they're covered from all ends of the spectrum. So that's pretty fun to see. Now, my listeners love to get to know the industry and what's going on in healthcare and pharma across the space, but they also love to learn about women leaders like yourself. So I'd love to ask you, what are things that you do in your personal life that help you work your best and make a difference?
Let's see. I love the outdoors. I love recharging. I took a long walk this morning. I'm dialing in from Austin, Texas. There's some I live really close to the trail here on Lady Bird Lake. And so just getting out there, breathing in fresh air, whether it's skiing or hiking, whatever that is, that's where I have these deep kind of brainstorm sessions with myself. I love to do walk and talks with people. I think it's just, instead of just your typical meeting, these are work meetings. I'm like, let's just do a walk and talk so we can just free flowing ideas. I think I get some of my best ideas when I'm hiking or walking. And I don't run that much, but I did run the New York City Marathon because we got a chick mission team last year. But I think it's just keeping your brain free of all the noise can really get to these visions, these long-term goals and strategies. And so it hasn't always been smooth sailing in our effort. There was, when Roe was overturned, I thought we were DOA. There's no way another state was going to touch this with a 10-foot pole. And ultimately, the messaging around it evolved. This is a pro-family bill, and I don't care. Cancer doesn't discriminate. Doesn't care who you are, what politician you vote for, where you live, all those things. And so I think that's where it was on a long walk after that I was like, no, we have to get back to our roots. It should not be a controversial issue. This is what we're meant to do in society, is just help people out who are going through a time of need. So that's what I always kind of come back to.
Absolutely. And I'm sure, you've had so many challenges within your own health life. And then obviously when Roe, what are strategies that you've put in place in your personal life that help you keep going, that keep you resilient, like that help you bounce back? Like, what are things that you do that keep you the way that you are? And you're such a bright light. Like, I'm just amazed by you.
I think I am the most Aquarian person you'll ever meet. Incredibly independent, very, very much an unconventional thinker. So when someone says no, I don't just accept that at face value. I'm like, well, why? And can we talk through this? And I've been like a little saleswoman my entire life. You could ask my mom. I was always kind of pitching her and my dad for different things. So I like to be innovative. I like to surround myself with irreverent humans that are obsessed with like pushing boundaries. Yeah, girl. And like stamina. I've run 2 marathons in my life. I've got stamina. Like this stuff, it takes a long time, but you cannot get distracted by noise. You have to just keep your eye on the prize. And we're going to blink and we're going to have 20 state laws changed. And then we're going to work on a federal bill at some point. So I think I'm just like, I have a grit to me. I have a great work ethic thanks to a very hardworking mom and my dad, wonderful human. I lost him when I was too young, but they shaped me to question authority and to question things that are wrong.
I love that. You have to stay focused on the mission, right? And you're focused on the chick mission, which we're so grateful for. So if you could give your younger self a piece of advice, you're looking back and you're like, oh, girl, let me just tell you, what would you tell her?
I actually connected with a gal who's in college right now yesterday. And I was giving her like that advice, actually, which was trust your gut. My gut at that age, at 20, was spot on. But I didn't have the confidence to trust her. And so just there's something there. There's that gut instinct, that women's intuition. Believe in that and follow it. It will speak up in the time, where you need to listen. That was literally why I pushed to get a mammogram at 36 years old.
Trust her. I love that. I love that advice. So to finish this conversation off right, where can our listeners find you online?
Oh, we're at Chick Mission on Instagram. We are thechickmission.org. We pride ourselves in not spamming people, so sign up for our newsletter. We have events all over the country. We have some really fun stuff coming up. Our gala is in New York City every year in October. It is not a boring, typical gala. It is a fun celebration of being irreverent and fabulous. We have something called Bubbles and Bad Behavior that is a ladies only moment that is coming up in New York in May. And we have one in San Francisco and we may do one in Dallas. Who knows? If that resonates, that name, our executive director coined it. I think it's fantastic. It's sold out for the last 4 years. And I would say, other than that, if you have a friend in need, somebody who's just been diagnosed, needs to navigate, it's very overwhelming. Be that best friend. Reach out to us. We respond to all of the inquiries, regardless if we work in the state where they live or not. We can give you advice on where to find funding, questions you may want to ask. There are a lot of public figures, young adult figures now that are speaking out and documenting their journeys, which I think makes people less lonely. And it's amazing what has transpired over the last 11 years since my first diagnosis. I was so alone. And now there's just tons out there, amazing humans who have been through it that are being brave and sharing.
That is fantastic. Now, before I forget, did you happen to bring tea with you today?
I cheated. I have a little coffee in my mug.
Coffee's perfect. Now tell me about your mug and the personal story behind it.
Well, as you can see, it's Chick Mission logo. But this was when we were on our shoestring budget at the start. I think this was our first gala giveaway. Getting mugs made is very inexpensive, but they feel substantial.
And personal. And I love that it has like a little chick, like just sitting on like a circular perch. It's a darling mug. So I want one. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me, Amanda. It was so great to have you on here today.
Thanks, Grace. Really great to meet you.
And thanks to you folks for joining us too. Check out the HITea With Grace podcast for more interviews with great guests like Amanda today. Cheers. Like a Girl Media is more than a media network. It's a community. We want to meet you and amplify your voice and the voices of outstanding women innovating in healthcare. Interested in starting your own podcast or hosting an event near you? Connect with us online or in person. We're here to support and empower you.